Nick Carraway is staying in a sanatorium to treat his alcoholism. He talks about a man named Gatsby, describing him as the most hopeful man he had ever met. When he struggles to articulate his thoughts, his doctor, Walter Perkins, suggests writing it down, since writing is Nick's true passion. In the summer of 1922, Nick moves from the U.S. Midwest to New York, where he takes a job as a bond salesman after giving up on writing. He rents a small house on Long Island in the village of West Egg, next door to the lavish mansion of J. Gatsby, a mysterious business magnate who holds extravagant parties. Nick drives across the bay to East Egg for dinner at the home of his cousin, Daisy Buchanan, and her husband, Tom, a college acquaintance of Nick's. They introduce Nick to Jordan Baker, a cynical young golfer with whom Daisy wishes to couple Nick. Jordan reveals to Nick that Tom has a mistress who lives in the Valley of Ashes, an industrial dumping ground between West Egg and New York City. Not long after this revelation, Nick travels with Tom to the valley, where they stop by a garage owned by George Wilson and his wife, Myrtle, who is Tom's lover that Jordan mentioned. Nick goes with Tom and Myrtle to an apartment that they keep for their affair, where Myrtle throws a vulgar and bizarre party with her sister Catherine. That ends with Tom breaking Myrtle's nose as she taunts him about Daisy. As the summer progresses, Nick receives an invitation to one of Gatsby's parties. Upon arriving, he learns that none of the guests at the party, though there are hundreds, have ever met Gatsby himself, and they have developed multiple theories as to who he is: a German spy, a prince, even an assassin. Nick encounters Jordan and they meet Gatsby, who is surprisingly young and rather aloof in person. Towards the end of the party, Gatsby's butler informs Jordan that Gatsby wishes to speak with her privately. Gatsby seems to take a liking to Nick, inviting him out for numerous occasions. Their friendship furthers when Gatsby takes Nick out to lunch with his friend Meyer Wolfsheim, a gambler who fixed the 1919 World Series, where Nick learns that Gatsby was born to very wealthy people that have already passed away. During the lunch, they run into Tom, Gatsby appearing uncomfortable throughout the exchange. Through Jordan, Nick later learns that Gatsby had a relationship with Daisy in 1917 and is still madly in love with her, throwing his extravagant and wild parties in the hopes that she will one day appear at his doorstep. On most nights, he can be seen reaching out across the bay to the green light at the end of Daisy's dock. He now wants Nick to arrange a reunion between him and Daisy. Nick invites Daisy to have tea at his house, without telling her that Gatsby will be there as well. After a pleasant reunion, Gatsby and Daisy begin an affair. Gatsby is dismayed to learn that Daisy wants to run away from New York with him, while his initial plan was for them to live in his mansion. Nick tries to explain to Gatsby that the past cannot be repeated, but he dismisses the remark, claiming that it most certainly can be. Trying to keep the affair a secret, Gatsby fires a majority of his servants and discontinues the parties. Eventually, he phones Nick and asks that he and Jordan accompany him to the Buchanans, where they plan to tell Tom that Daisy is leaving him. Nick is hesitant at first, but Gatsby insists that they need him. During the luncheon, Tom becomes increasingly suspicious of Gatsby when he sees him staring at Daisy with such passion. Later at the Buchanan's house, tensions rise when Gatsby openly declares his love for Daisy, and she admits that she never loved Tom. Enraged, Tom tries to discredit Gatsby by exposing his involvement in illegal activities. At this moment, Daisy realizes she can no longer stay with someone as violent and manipulative as Tom. She decides to leave him and start a new life with Gatsby. As they leave, Tom, furious and unable to accept losing Daisy, decides to chase after them, speeding recklessly in an attempt to catch up. Meanwhile, Myrtle runs out into the road to flag Tom down. Distracted by his rage and driving at high speed, Tom doesn't see Myrtle in time and accidentally hits her, and killing her instantly. Tom tries to flee the scene, but witnesses and police arrive quickly. The media accuses Tom is murderer of Myrtle. When the truth comes out that Tom was driving the car, he is arrested and later sentenced to prison for manslaughter. In the end, with Tom imprisoned, Gatsby and Daisy are free to start their new life together. They leave New York behind and come to a quieter place where they can live without the need for Gatsby's extravagant parties. Gatsby finally has the future he always dreamed of, Daisy by his side, and no longer chasing a distant green light across the bay. Disgusted with both the city and its people, Nick leaves New York. He takes a final walk through Gatsby's deserted mansion, standing out of it for the last time. Back in the sanatorium, he finishes his memoir and titles it The Great Gatsby.